Today we're going to be talking about standard form of a linear equation. We have previously discussed point-slope form, slope-intercept form, and now we are on standard form. This is a very different one compared to the other two. The other two give you some very obvious information. Both give you slope right off the bat, and both work with some sort of point, either the y-intercept or just a point from the graph. Standard form is very different from that. So in standard form, it says ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are both, or all three, sorry, not both, but all three are real numbers, and a and b are not both 0. So a could be 0 or b could be 0. They could not both be 0 at the same time. So we have three rules when we are writing our equation in standard form. So when we use ax plus by equals c, a is either greater than or equal to 0. So in other words, the x term is not negative. It is not negative. So x is never going to have a negative symbol in front of it when it's in the correct version of standard form. A and b are not both 0. A and b are not both 0. That is not possible. You could have y be 0 or x be 0, but you can't have both of them. So a and b are not both 0. And then the last piece here is that a, b, and c are integers with a GCF, and GCF means greatest common factor of 1, meaning that there's no way to divide any other number out of a, b, and c. So what I mean by that, if we look at our first example here on the left, it says 3x minus 2y equals 13. That is in standard form of ax plus by equals c. And 3, 2, and 13 don't have any numbers that you could divide them all by and come out with another whole number except for 1. So if you divide everything by 1, it doesn't change anything, and we have 3x minus 2y equals 13. Conversely to that, we have 2x plus 4y equals 6 on the right-hand side, and those all have 2 in common, so I can divide these all by 2. So this is not in standard form yet until I divide by 2. Once I divide everything by 2, 2x divided by 2 gives us just x, or a 1x. 4y divided by 2 is 2y, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that is what standard form looks like. We have to make sure we divide out any common factors that we can. We're going to make sure that a is positive, so the number in front of x is positive and larger than 0 or larger, and we must have an x or y or both. We can't have both gone. It can't just be numbers. So when we're writing our equations in standard form, sometimes we're going to have to move things around, shift things around in order to make it look like ax plus by equals c. So we want x and y to be on the same side of the equal sign. So if we look at example 1 here, I have 3y equals negative 5x plus 2. Well, I want to move that 5x to the other side, so I'm going to add on both sides. On the right-hand side, those 5x's cancel out. On the left-hand side, if we again reference our standard form, it says ax plus by, so I'm going to put 5x plus 3y equals 2. We want to double check. Can we divide anything out? 5, 3, and 2 do not have any numbers except for 1 in common, so we're not going to have to divide, and we are done. That is now in standard form for example 1. Looking at example 2, I have a fraction at the front. I cannot have a fraction. We want nice whole numbers. So what we might need to do is do something to get rid of the bottom part of the fractions. The bottom part of that fraction is 4. So I'm going to take both sides and multiply 4 on both sides of our equal sign. When we do that, that's going to be distributing, so that 4 is going to get multiplied to every piece. So we have 4 times 3 over 4x minus 4 times 2y equals 2 times 4. Now we want to make sure we go through and simplify this correctly. When we have 4 times 3 over 4, the 4's are going to cancel out, and the 3 is just by itself with the x. So we have 3x. We now have a whole number. Minus 4 times 2 is 8. Y equals 8. So again, we want to double check this. Can I divide anything out? 3 and 8 do not have any factors in common, so nothing is going to divide out. And we are done.